Good day everyone, I am CPC-COMONAL, your companion for today throughout this video. So stay tuned as I am going to perform and show you my hand hygiene or hand washing return demonstration. But before I jump in performing, let me first introduce to you what is hand hygiene or hand washing in the first place. So it is the primary measure to prevent infections, and it is considered as one of the most effective ways to deter the spread of microorganisms, as 80% of infections are transmitted by the hands. So it is indeed that important to practice such good hygiene. So let's start. Prior to the conduct of the procedure, first is to check and ensure that the equipments or materials needed or the equipments to be used are complete. This includes an easy-to-reach sink with warm running water, an antimicrobial soap, a trash can, and a towel. For the towel, you can either use a paper or a cloth towel. Now that we have confirmed that we have all of that, then we can proceed to the next procedure, which we have to stand in front of the sink, keeping our hands and uniform away from the sink, because the inside of a sink is a contaminated area. So we really need to keep our distance, or we really need to keep just enough distance that our hands and uniform are not touching or are not in contact with the sink surface, as prevention from microorganisms in transferring to our hands and uniform. Next is to remove any jewelry such as wristwatches and rings, because microorganisms can lodge in the settings of jewelries, and the removal of jewelries facilitates proper cleaning of our hands. Next is to inspect the condition of our cuticles, hands, and forearms for any abrasions, cuts, or open lesions, because open cuts of wounds can harbor high concentrations of microorganisms. Now is we're gonna open the water or open our faucet. And adjusting the pressure of our water. Okay, now we are good to go in wetting our hands and wrists thoroughly under the running water, like this, with our fingers pointing downward or toward the bottom of the sink, and keeping our hands and forearms lower than our elbows, so that the water flows from the least to the most contaminated area of our hand. Okay, next is we're going to apply a good amount of antimicrobial soap. And lather our hands thoroughly by rubbing palm to palm, like this, as you can see, and in circular motion as well, as soap cleanses by emulsifying fats and oils, and it also lowers surface tension. Okay, next is we're going to rub the back of each hand with fingers interlaced, like this. And we're going to do this for at least 5 times for each hand. So next to this is we're going to rub palm to palm with our fingers interlaced, like this. And next, we're going to rub the back of the fingers of each hand to the opposing palms, like this, with our fingers interlocked. As interlacing and interlocking fingers fingers ensures that all surfaces are cleansed. Vice versa. Next is gonna be our thumbs. So we're gonna rub each thumb, and we're gonna do that with our other hand clasped into it and rubbing it in a rotational manner. Like this. And next is we're gonna clasp the fingers and rub it to the palm of the opposing hand. And we're gonna rub this in a forward and backward motion. Like this. And also in circular motion. And doing this in the other hand also. And we're doing this, rubbing the tip of our fingernails into the opposing palms, as the area underlying our fingernails are often soiled, or the area under the nails are highly contaminated. So we are rubbing it, as friction and rubbing mechanically loosens and removes dirt and prevents backing. Okay. Now we're gonna rub each wrist with the opposite hand. Okay, like this. And now we're gonna rinse off the soap, or we're gonna rinse our hands and wrists thoroughly under the running water. Keeping in mind, as what I said earlier, to keep our hands and forearms lower than our elbows. And we're gonna inspect for remaining dirt or soap. As rinsing mechanically washes away dirt and microorganisms into the sink. And avoid splashing the water onto our uniform, because microorganisms harbor or travel faster and thrive best in moist environments. And that's it. Now we're gonna dry up our hands using the paper towel, but you can also use a clean cloth towel. So, starting from the fingers up to the wrist. As drying out from the cleanest to the least clean area to avoid contamination. So our fingers are the cleanest area, up to our wrist, that's the least clean area. So now we're gonna discard this used towel into the proper receptacle to avoid transfer of microorganisms. And now I'm going to use another paper towel. And we're going to discard that into the trash can. And now we're going to use another paper towel for turning off the faucet, to avoid direct contact with our hands and the faucet, because the faucet is a contaminated area, so we don't want that. If we do touch that, then we need to repeat the whole process. And now I'm gonna turn off the faucet. And now we're going to discard the towel that we have used in the trash can. And that's it. In all healthcare settings, we have the 5 moments of hand hygiene, which first is before touching a patient, second, before a clean or aseptic procedure, and third, after a body fluid exposure risk, fourth, after touching a patient, fifth, after touching patient's surroundings. And that wraps up my hand hygiene or hand washing return demonstration.
Yeah.